Welcome to Module 5, Part B, where we've done some chemistry. We're now going to first look at some of the physics that's in the 7 to 10 curriculum. One of the key things initially is about that forces and energy and how those are related together. Now, when we talk about force, what do we mean? Well, most people think, oh, I force it. Well, they're right. It's an effort. So an effort is applied and it produces a reaction. Mostly if you push an effort on something, you create something to move or to change form or shape. So yes, we find that in physics as a force. And with most things in physics, it's defined in a definitional sense, but also has a strong connection mathematically, and these things connect together. So let's open our chemical and physics one. We're looking at physics, we're looking at forces and energy today, and we're on this page here. So first of all, we define what a force is, and probably the most common definition in the terminology in the curriculum is a push or pull, and it's measured in newtons after Isaac Newton. And so a push or a pull makes something generally move, and that when these things have movement, it has a form of energy. So force causes energy to go forward. Now, energy is an interesting thing. Energy is not a defined physical thing. It's an ability. It's to do something. Now, the ability is defined as, and energy is defined as the ability to do work. So it has a potential to do work, say it's stored, or it actually is doing some work right now, and we can measure that as well. So that whole concept of a force causes an impact of forming some work, which is energy, is central. And we've defined it up there, and that might be a bit of a go-to. I put it schematically this way. A force acts to produce work. You think about that, pushing, you're actually working as you're pushing a wheelbarrow. And that work is expressed and measured as a form of energy. Now, energy and work are equivalent, just different terms for the same thing. So in short, force results in an energy. Now, the opposite way, if we apply energy, like electrical energy, it will produce a force on something. Okay, you release some energy, it will produce a force onto you. So those things are all intertwined. So force and energy are intrinsically linked together. And we've put some things there. You know, forces, a push or a pull, can create or turn things. Energy can, say, a drill can turn this, and chemical energy can produce a force, an explosion, for example. Now, as I said, they're definitional. But in physics, things are not only defined, but they're measured. So let's have a look at some of those things. Work, for example, is a form of energy. So what is work? It's a force over a certain distance. And here's a little example. So if you want to lift something, you apply a force that you're lifting on an object, let's say it's 12 kilograms, something, I don't know, a box, and you're going upstairs. So you have to use energy to do that. And how much energy, work energy, did you use? Well, we can calculate using a formula. Work equals force, newtons, times the distance measured in meters, and there's the working out. Now, one of the tricks that we'll talk a little bit later is about, hey, gravity's at play here. And how can I actually measure a force in the first instance? Great video that details a couple of the examples of force. Have a look at these videos and of Newton's 3 laws. You'll find out, and we'll be examining those across this module, and the relationships between force and energy, which you've already discussed. Now, we've got energy. Energy comes in different forms. For example, you can push a spring together. It's not doing anything. You can tie it up and you can put it down. But if you cut that string, bingo, it'll bounce. So it's got energy there. It's just that it's stored. And that stored word in physics is called potential energy. Well, other things are stored as well. You know, a lump of coal, a litre of petrol. They're stored on a shelf. They're not doing anything, but they can be released chemically, and they can produce energy. They can drive vehicles. They can spin turbines. They can release heat and light. So that's potential energy, and they're listed down here. Now, that elastic energy or elastic potential energy is actually things like rubber bands and springs and things. Never been in a fight with a rubber band? No, there's a bit of energy involved, as well as some of the chemistry and the nuclear. Now, this is an interesting one. Gravitational energy. That's a roller coaster. You can go at top of a hill or a slide or get pushed up. You're sitting there, but you'll fall down and with speed and create energy and force and motion by just a simple act of force. So what we did was you had to work against gravity and you stored yourself high with high gravitational energy and it's released. And so many wonderful things happen with gravity, don't they? And the other side of energy is, okay, the result, perhaps the potential. And that's the motion. Heat. Now, heat is a form of energy, but heat is really actually particles buzzing around, and they are producing friction against each other, and they're creating hot air molecules. Hot. Again, mechanical energy, things that move, and machines, mechanical. They're moving, they're kinetic energy, as well as electrical energy. What's a movement? Well, when we go back to atoms, here we're talking about electrons whizzing around and moving, and particles moving, so it's the motion of those. And magnetic energy can cause things to move over time. So the two broad classes of kinetic and potential, and there's a couple in the middle. They're wave energy. Sound and light, a form of waves. So there's some definitional things about them, and here's a video that unpacks that. And then we're going to move on in the next module to have a look at energy systems, how they preserve, how they change. A bit like chemistry, how things change. Well, how does physics, how does energy get passed around? Now, when you think about energy, it's not a physical thing, but conceptually, it's sometimes good to think about it's a packet. Packet of energy. So you're storing up things high and the packet of energy falls down. Or coal's got these packets of energy in there and they're released when you burn them. But it's not technically correct because it's not a thing. But energy is you see energy in what it does, and that's the ability to do work. So we're going to explore over the next couple of modules what's force, what's energy, and how it changes and operates on things. So welcome to the second part of Module 5.